Anduril, Flame of the West. Have you ever wondered just how powerful Aragorn's sword really is? Well, you're in the right place today, as we're going to explore its history, magical properties, and why it made even the Dark Lord Sauron shake in his boots.
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
Let's start with a little backstory. Anduril wasn't always the legendary blade it is now. It began its life as Narsil, the sword of Elendil, one of still the most powerful weapons of its time. Narsil was forged by the renowned dwarven smith Telchar of Nogrod, who also crafted other legendary items like the knife Angrist or the helm of Hador. Telchar's creations were famed for their exceptional quality and craftsmanship, making Narsil a remarkable weapon from the start. During the Battle of the Last Alliance of Elves and Men, Narsil was shattered when Elendil fell. Despite its broken state, Elendil's son Isildur used the hilt shard to cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand, defeating the Dark Lord temporarily. Now, not quite like it shows in the films where he swipes up at an oncoming Sauron, but from his fallen body. This act marked the beginning of Sauron's first downfall, with the sword playing a critical role in that pivotal moment of Middle-earth's history. The severing of the One Ring from Sauron's hand was a decisive moment that weakened him significantly, demonstrating the power and significance of Narsil. Now we fast forward to Rivendell, where the shards of Narsil were kept safe for many years. The sword's significance was well known among the elves and the remnants of the House of Elendil. When the time came for Aragorn to step into his destiny, the elves reforged Narsil into Anduril, the Flame of the West. This reforging was not merely a repair job, but a renewal of its power and symbolism. The skilled elven smiths of Rivendell, under the guidance of Elrond, ensured that the blade was not only restored, but enhanced with powerful enchantments. The blade was inscribed with elvish runes, making it not just a weapon, but a symbol of power and hope. The runes on Anduril read, "I am Anduril, who was Narsil, the sword of Elendil. Let the thralls of Mordor flee me." This inscription alone was enough to strike fear into the hearts of Sauron's minions. These runes were that nod to the craftsmanship and the ancient power infused into the blade by the elves, making it a formidable weapon against the forces of darkness. I mean, think about it. Originally crafted by a dwarf, wielded by a man, and now reforged by the elves. This was a sword to bring everyone together. But there were other elves involved in its story too, like Galadriel, the Lady of Lothlorien. Before the Fellowship left Lothlorien on their trip, she gifted Aragorn a special sheath for Anduril. This sheath wasn't just decorative, it also too had magical properties. Galadriel stated that the sword drawn from this sheath would not be stained or broken even in defeat. This added another layer of enchantment and protection to the already formidable blade. The sheath was overlaid with tracery of flowers and leaves wrought of silver and gold, with elven runes formed of many gems spelling out the name Anduril and the lineage of the sword. This gift from Galadriel emphasized the elves' support for Aragorn and their recognition of his destiny. Anduril's story, from its origin as Narsil to its reforging, showcases the deep history and significance of this legendary sword. It's not merely just a weapon to swing around, but that symbol of hope, of heritage, and power, all intricately tied to the fate of Middle-earth and its people. So you can see, Anduril was clearly not just any sword. Its significance extends far beyond its physical form, embodying the heritage and destiny of Aragorn as the rightful heir to the throne of Gondor. The elves reforged the sword with the clear purpose to signify the return of the king and the renewal of hope for Middle-earth. Aragorn carrying Anduril was a clear sign that the line of Elendil had not failed and that the strength of the old kingdoms still endured. When Aragorn revealed Anduril to the peoples of Middle-earth, it wasn't just a display of a powerful weapon, it was that declaration of his rightful place as the King of Gondor. The sword symbolized his connection to his ancestors, Elendil and Isildur, and his role in the fight against Sauron. This is evident when Aragorn uses Anduril to gain the allegiance of the army of the dead, proving his royal lineage and the right to command them. In The Return of the King, Aragorn displays Anduril to the dead men of Dunharrow, who had sworn allegiance to the true King of Gondor, believing the line to be broken though. The sword's reappearance, along with Aragorn's lineage, compels them to honour their ancient oath, showcasing Anduril's role as a symbol of legitimate kingship and power. so you can see how it holds immense cultural and historical significance. It represents the continuity of the line of Elendil and the enduring strength of the Dunedain. The reforging of Narsil into Anduril symbolises the renewal of alliances between men and elves, crucial for the final defeat of Sauron. The sword's presence throughout the story of The Lord of the Rings serves as a constant reminder of the past struggles and the hope for a future free from the shadow of Sauron. It really is quite amazing how it all comes together. Anduril's significance is further highlighted by its pivotal role in key moments throughout The Lord of the Rings. We touched upon one a moment ago with the Dead Men of Dunharrow, but there are many more moments with these, so I thought it would be good to have a look at a few. One of the most significant mentions of Narsil, later reforged as Anduril, occurs at the Council of Elrond in the Fellowship of the Ring. Here the shards of Narsil are brought forth as a symbol of Aragorn's heritage. This moment underscores the importance of the sword and Aragorn's lineage in the broader struggle against Sauron. It is a key moment where the significance of the broken sword is acknowledged by all present, highlighting its historical and symbolic weight. And then again in the Fellowship when they depart Rivendell, Narsil is then, of course, reforged into Anduril and given back to Aragorn. This moment is pivotal as it marks the beginning of Aragorn's journey with the newly forged sword, symbolising that hope and the renewal of ancient alliances. The reforging of Narsil into Anduril represents the revival of the fight against Sauron and the rekindling of old powers. It shows they're not just going to lie down and let Sauron win. They are going to come together and fight against the Shadow, along with empowering Aragorn and reinforcing his role as a leader. Then as we continue on into Lothlorien, as I have mentioned before, Galadriel gifts Aragorn this special sheath for Anduril. This again just emphasises that connection between the men and elves and how there is an alliance that can stand together one more time. If we move on to the Two Towers now though, there is a real kicker when Aragorn uses it to confront Sauron through the Palantir. This was a pivotal moment where Aragorn showed Sauron the reforged blade, making the Dark Lord believe that Aragorn might in fact have the One Ring. Sauron, remembering Narsil and fearing the return of his ancient foes, was momentarily shaken. Aragorn's bold move was designed to divert Sauron's attention away from Frodo and Sam, buying them as much precious time as he could to reach Mount Doom. Aragorn's confrontation with Sauron via the Palantir was really a masterstroke in psychological warfare. By revealing Anduril, Aragorn projected an image of strength and defiance. Sauron, who had always believed that no one could resist the temptation of the ring, was suddenly faced with an heir of Isildur who had not only resisted, but also sought to challenge him directly. That doesn't happen. This moment illustrates how strategically sound he is, and his understanding of Sauron's fears and weaknesses. The physical presence of Anduril in all of this confrontation really symbolised a direct challenge to Sauron's power. A massive moment. And then later we get that moment that I have already mentioned about Aragorn with Anduril going through the paths of the dead and summoning the Dead Men of Dunharrow. It really shows how Anduril's role is not just a weapon, but a tool of destiny and legitimacy. The sword's physical and symbolic power convinces the dead to honour their ancient oath and support Aragorn's cause. And without them, things may really have not gone the way they did. And as we continue a bit further, remember the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. Anduril played a huge role there too, showing that no enemy could withstand its power. Aragorn wielded Anduril with unmatched skill, cutting through Sauron's forces and leading his troops to victory. This battle was that turning point in the War of the Ring, showcasing the sword's might and Aragorn's leadership, really solidifying what was engraved on it. Aragorn's arrival at the Battle of the Pelennor Fields marked a significant morale boost for the forces of Gondor and Rohan. The sight of the reforged blade shining with the light of the elves inspired hope and courage among the soldiers. Anduril was not just a weapon, it was a beacon of resistance against this encroaching darkness that seemed to be ever coming down upon them. The blade's power was evident as it cut through all those orcs and other enemies with ease. It really showed the resurgence of the old alliances and the true return of the king. But once the battle is done, and during the last debate that happens in the Return of the King at the camp of the Host of the West, Anduril is mentioned as a significant element of their strategy. Gandalf and Aragorn discuss how revealing the sword to Sauron has sown doubt and fear in the Dark Lord. The sword's presence in the debate highlights its symbolic power and psychological impact it has on their enemy. This moment illustrates how Anduril is used not just in battle, but in the strategic planning and the psychological warfare that is crucial to their campaign. They realised how well it worked against Sauron first time, so why not try to use it more in this way again? But now we get on to the coronation of Aragorn into King Elessar. The sword symbolises the culmination of his journey and the fulfillment of his destiny. As Aragorn ascends to the throne, Anduril signifies the restoration of the line of the kings and the hope of a new era of peace and prosperity in Middle-earth. This moment encapsulates the full significance of Anduril as more than just a weapon, but a symbol of renewal and that legitimate role. And finally, in the Return of the King again of course, during the parley with the Mouth of Sauron at the Black Gate, Anduril again comes and plays its role. The Mouth of Sauron recognises the blade and mocks Aragorn, but the sight of Anduril, reforged and carried by the true heir of Isildur, serves as a powerful symbol of defiance and determination. This encounter emphasises the psychological impact of the sword on Sauron's servants, and its role in the larger strategy against Mordor. And in the book, at the end of all this, it's not used to cut off his head either. One of the questions that does often come up: could Anduril actually harm Sauron? It is a fun theory to consider, and while the sword is, of course, insanely powerful, Tolkien emphasises that Sauron could only be destroyed by the destroying of the One Ring. The physical destruction of Sauron's body by Narsil during the Last Alliance proves the sword's might, but ultimately, Sauron's essence was tied to the One Ring. Anduril's power lies in its symbolism and the courage it inspires in its wielder and allies. In the context of Middle-earth, weapons imbued with elvish magic and significant historical power like Anduril could potentially injure Sauron physically. However, since Sauron's true essence and power were tied to the One Ring, the complete and final defeat of Sauron required the ring's destruction. This principle is fundamental in Tolkien's lore, where the One Ring is the source of Sauron's longevity and strength. But you could see, Anduril's physical power is evident in the way it enhances Aragorn's combat abilities. The sword's elvish craftsmanship ensures it is unbreakable and razor sharp, capable of cutting through armour and enemy forces with real ease. The blade's length and balance make it a formidable weapon in battle, allowing Aragorn to wield it with unmatched skill and precision. Throughout the series, Aragorn's use of Anduril in combat showcases its effectiveness. At the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, Anduril's keen edge and enchanted strength enabled Aragorn to cut through numerous foes, contributing significantly to the victory over Sauron's forces. The sight of Anduril blazing in the heat of battle serves as a rally point for the soldiers of Gondor and Rohan, boosting their morale and determination. But a lot of Anduril's true power comes from Aragorn himself, his right to the throne and his noble heart. Without Aragorn, there is no Anduril. The sword's effectiveness is as much about who wields it as it is about the blade itself. Aragorn's lineage combined with his unwavering commitment to his people and the fight against darkness makes Anduril a weapon of immense power. His courage, his leadership, and his rightful claim to the throne empower the sword, turning it into a symbol of hope and unity for the free peoples of Middle-earth. The reforging of Narsil into Anduril was as much about restoring Aragorn's faith in his destiny as it was about creating a weapon for battle. The symbolic power of Anduril can therefore not be overstated. It represents the renewal of the ancient alliance between elves and men, the hope for the restoration of the kingdom of Gondor, the enduring strength of the line of Elendil. The very sight of Anduril inspires hope among allies and fear among enemies, making it a crucial element in the psychological warfare against Sauron and his forces. In Tolkien's world, symbols hold immense power. Anduril, with its storied history and magical reforging, serves as a beacon of hope and a rallying point for those who stand against Sauron. The blade's inscriptions and elvish craftsmanship are not just decorative, but carry the weight of ages and the promise of victory. So there we have it. Anduril is more than just a sword. It is a symbol, a magical weapon, and a beacon of hope. Reforged from the shards of Narsil, it embodies the weight of ages and the promise of a brighter future. Its magical properties, elvish runes, and the powerful symbolism make it central to the struggle against Sauron. The journey from Narsil to Anduril highlights the renewal of ancient alliances and the enduring strength of Middle-earth's free peoples. Aragorn's claim to the throne, his noble heart, and unwavering commitment empower the sword, making it a symbol of unity and resistance. Throughout The Lord of the Rings, Anduril plays a crucial role in key moments, such as those in the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, the confrontation with Sauron via the Palantir, or even the summoning of the Army of the Dead. These moments show the sword's power not just as a weapon, but that symbol of hope and legitimacy. Anduril's impact on the storyline is profound. It represents hope for a united Middle-earth and the return of the true king. It being forged by a dwarf, reforged by the elves, and wielded by a man, really shows how it's Iluvatar's children coming together to finally bring down the darkness. Its presence rallies the forces of good, giving them the courage to stand against overwhelming odds. The sword's journey mirrors Aragorn's path to kingship, highlighting the importance of embracing one's heritage to forge a better future. And I would also like to take a moment at the end of this video today to give you a quick update on The Guard, the short film that we are creating. Everything is going amazing. We have just shot block 2 and the rest of it should hopefully be shot soon too. As always, it is all the money from our Patreon that is funding this. In essence, it is a no budget production if you consider the large scale of film, but every pound that you give is a massive help to create an incredible story. I'm putting a couple of shots on screen now and some behind the scenes clips to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. So if you would like to help support it a little bit more to help push us over the line, then please check out our Patreon. Every little bit really helps. And now it is time for my question of the day, which is, does Anduril top your list for Middle-earth's coolest weapon? Or does another weapon take this crown instead? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. And now it is time to give a massive thank you to our patrons who continue to support the channel. You are all amazing. And if you have reached the very end of this video with me today and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It would massively help us out. And why not drop a like on the video as well? And with that, all I can say is, thank you for spending just some of your time with me today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.
Andúril, flame of the west, forged from the shards of Narsil.